This brand new iPhone costs $1,500, but for the exact same amount of money, I bought all of this tech at a pawn shop. Which one would you pick? So this is all of the stuff that we were able to get from the various pawn shops. This is either one of the best ideas we've ever had or one of the absolute worst, but we got some good stuff here. So for $380, was it a good idea to buy a used Samsung Galaxy S10e and a pair of very legitimate AirPods? Let's find out. So take a look at the box. I mean, it looks fairly legit. It even has a little embossing. It does not say Apple anywhere though. It just says wireless charging case. So, okay, yeah, that looks like a pair of AirPods. Oh wow, it's even got a lightning port on the back, which actually is slightly more annoying because lightning's not a good feature, but sure, whatever. I mean, these look pretty reasonable to me. Let's take the real and the fake and put them side by side. I mean, that looks close. That looks very close. I do kind of doubt that this girl is real. It doesn't look like it has quite that same depth. If you don't have another pair of AirPods side by side, you're probably not even gonna notice the difference. Okay, let's pair them up with our S10e and see what happens. Wait, I'm gonna put my actual AirPods up for a second because I'm getting very confused. Let's play a little video, shall we? No, not Samsung Pay, no. Oh, right, yes, it has a Bixby button. I mean, they're not terrible. I mean, it does feel like they're EQ'd very heavy on the bass side, but it's not super offensive. Certainly not like some of the super cheap knockoffs we've tried. You know, one thing I'll say, it pauses and plays when I take them in and out of my ears. That's actually a good thing. I mean, we can put them side by side with the real AirPods. I know though that the real AirPods sound better. Yeah, it's a lot nicer. My bigger question though is going to be the S10e because I did a video on this, oh God, what is it, 2 years ago now? 2.5 years ago? And I really liked this phone. So what you're getting here is really the only time Samsung ever made a small flagship, something similar to the iPhone 12 mini. And this was Samsung back in the good old glory days. Take a little look here, we've got ourselves a headphone jack. Yes, friends, you can plug in physical headphones and not just AirPods. On top of that, this also has a micro SD card slot. And in many ways, it's kind of like what a lot of enthusiasts are always asking for phones to bring back. The S10e still had it. I can actually use the S10e to wirelessly charge. That is one of the things that this did have. So, put the fake AirPods on. Not working, okay. And then I'll put my real AirPods on. Immediately works. There's a lot of good stuff about this phone, but my big question here is really gonna be less about the phone. I already know it's great, but how do we actually come out on the value side? Because we are sitting at $380 for the two, which doesn't seem like a terrible deal, but how much does it actually cost if I wanna buy an S10e and I wanna buy a pair of fake AirPods? Okay, so, we done fucked up. You can get a renewed S10e, unlocked just like this one from Amazon for $277. Do I even want to look up the fake AirPods? On the AirPods, I don't think these are particularly worth it. On the S10e, I actually do think this phone is worth it if you buy it from Amazon and not from a pawn shop. So I think it's safe to say we took an L on this one. This video is sponsored by Morning Brew. Morning Brew is a free daily email newsletter covering the world of business, finance, and tech. I think a lot of people can appreciate how Morning Brew is wittier and more relevant than traditional news outlets, which, let's face it, can be a little bit boring sometimes. I used to open social media immediately after waking up, but it feels a lot more productive getting all of my news in one spot instead of aimlessly scrolling all morning. The recent write-up on Google I/O is a great example of the top-level stuff that I really do need to know. And best of all, it's free. So if you're interested in business, finance, or tech, you'll definitely want to subscribe to Morning Brew at the link in the description. At $340, we paid way too much for this PS3. Now, it is modded. It is using, what's the mod? Rebug. I'll immediately say one thing. This is a modded controller. Take a look at this. It's got a Xbox 360 left stick. You see that? Someone actually like cracked the plastic and dropped the stick in.
The stick on the right is also not DualShock.
Is it not?
Nope.
What is this?
PS4.
All right, off to a weird start. Now, we purchased this supposedly already modded, loaded up with games and stuff, but I don't even know where to start. Wait, there's one PS2 game? Wait, but that
We got told that there were thousands.
Yes, we were definitely pitched that there were thousands of games on this. Boot other OS. Oh! Okay, that's actually kind of cool. So, the early models of the PS3 actually did support other OS, aka Linux. That was famously taken away because people were modding them. But I guess if you do mod your PS3, you can get it back. That's kind of cool. There we go. That looks much more like it. Okay, now we have what are supposedly thousands of games. And that is, in fact, a lot of games. What's Age of Booty? Burnout Paradise. All right. Could not. Oh. These aren't games that are installed. These are games that you can download from the pirate server. There's nothing installed on this. This is literally just going through the list of games you want to download.
To be fair, I don't think 50 gigs worth of games.
Oh, there's gotta be something on here, right? I mean, there's like 3 Wonders, Altered Beast, and MMCM, whatever that is. That's it. If I download some games, which of course I would never do, because that's illegal. But theoretically, if some games were downloaded to this, sure, fine. Let's actually see though what a modded PS3 with Rebug actually runs. Here's a PS3 that sold for $173 with a 1 terabyte hard drive. So this one that we could have bought was half the price, already was completely disassembled, had some Arctic Silver installed on the CPU and GPU. They applied all the updates and they loaded up
So there were actual,
Rebug and
there were actual like refurbishment happening too. That's
yeah. So look, if you want to go mod your PS3, by all means go ahead. But if you're going to charge $300 plus for the privilege when you can get a nicer, better model on eBay for like 180 bucks, Helltown, bad. I regret everything right now. This is not good.
you didn't even want to play it.
I don't want to play it now. If I play it, I'm gonna play like there's 2 games on it. I'm gonna be like, oh, cool, it's a game. I'd rather sulk in my sadness and defeat. Seems like a much better idea right now than looking at this anymore. All right, so before we actually get our MacBook up and running, we do have a brand new battery for it. Other than that, it should pretty much be good to go. There's not really a lot wrong with this. It already had a lot of upgrades. But before we do that, well, we need to up our camera game. Sure, we might have nice 4K crispy cams, but nothing's gonna touch our Nikon D3300. 3 away from being a good camera. So this was the camera, or at least a slightly earlier version of this camera, that really was hugely helpful for me back in the day. 8, 9, 10 years ago, I shot so many videos on one of these Nikons. Now, to be fair, I haven't used one of these in, I'll stay here, a long time. So let's see if I remember literally anything. This brings me back. That feels terrible. So one thing I've actually noticed with this is that it came with a kit lens, but if you look really closely there, there's a big old scratch right across the lens. So that may impact our image quality. I'm sure it'll be fine though. Theoretically, we're up and running, so I can zoom in. It gets quite dark, so we're gonna stay wide. I don't think there's anything else for it. So goodbye, crispy 4K quality, and enter the Nikon D3300. Welcome to the Pawn Shop Camera Crew. I'm really curious to see what the Nikon actually looks like right now.
It looks pretty decent actually, at least on the little tiny screen.
All right, this is the moment of truth. First thing I see here, someone definitely upgraded this aftermarket, so we do have a Samsung SSD. That's actually nice. So it's got 8 plus 8 gigs of RAM, 3 screws, and our battery has been removed. Put that off to the side and grab our Egoway. I will say you always should be mildly cautious of a third-party battery. This is one we got on Amazon that had good reviews, so it should be fine, but just a little word of warning. So we just slide it underneath the tabs here, and then it should be as simple as just lining up our little connector. And we've got 3 screws and we've got a fresh battery. I mean, did that take what, 5 minutes? Not even? It's kind of unfortunate because you look at something like this, and even though this MacBook is almost a decade old, if not even longer, it's so easy to upgrade it and make it usable today, right? So someone already put some more RAM in, super simple. You throw an SSD in there, that's gonna be a ton of performance. And then swapping out the battery is just a matter of a few screws. Unfortunately, modern systems, and specifically MacBooks, they don't really have that same level of flexibility. It's kind of like you get what you get, and if you're not happy with it, buy a new MacBook. Battery shows up, condition normal, 1 cycle count, battery installed, and charging. There we go. Simple as that. We've got ourselves a fresh new battery, 16 gigs of RAM, SSD. So I think what I need to do now is take the footage that you've already been watching from this Nikon D3300, drop it into my SD card slot on the MacBook, and edit and see if I can actually cut a video on this very, very old setup. All right, after having edited the last minute or so of the footage on the MacBook, I can confirm it is a completely reasonable experience. Especially when you're cutting something like 1080p, man, even old hardware like this with a good editor like Final Cut has no problem. All right, so the best thing that I got in Fragrant Sun was this clear Nintendo DS Lite. So not only has this been completely modified with some brand new screens as well as a brand new clear chassis, but it also comes with a free copy of an R4 card. Now, of course, if you don't want to flash your games, you can be like me and play your authentic copy of Pokemon Black 2. But just to show you what this is all about, why don't we load this up? Look, I'm playing my copy of Diddy Kong Racing via the R4 cards. Also, I like how with the clear shell you can see there's literally nothing going on back here. There's so little inside of the DS. I was playing Black 2 on my 3DS, or actually my new 2DS XL, but the problem is the DS games don't look as good on 3DSs because you have to have them like scaled up, or you have to press start and select and they run in that smaller mode. I much prefer playing on legitimate DS hardware. It just looks nice and crisp. So $150 might not seem like a particularly good deal for a DS, but over the last year, DSs, 2DS, 3DSs have all skyrocketed in price. People are so hyped up about the old school retro stuff, right? Which is fun, but it is so obscenely expensive. What I can say though, is that my copy that was completely purchased authentically 10 years ago or 8 years ago of Pokemon Black 2 works no problem. You ready for the best part of this game? Come on, that's like the best, like, fifth gen. When it hits hard, man. It hits hard. Now for our next item, we have a Nintendo 2DS, which has, to be fair, seen slightly better days since it was clearly attacked with a Sharpie, but importantly, I was able to pick it up for only $45. So you should just need a quick coat of paint and it'll be good as new, right? I really just want to paint the front to make it look a little bit more presentable. I might be able to do the buttons as well, although they're fairly fine. I guess the question is, are we going to have something which looks better, but it's a lot harder, or do we take the lazy approach and I just paint it? No. No spray paint for me. No spray paint for me. That's what I need, right? A paint marker so I can be lazy?
No, spray paint might actually be the move.
You want me to spray paint?
Yeah.
That seems questionable. So, okay, so we go black, red, and then sealer. This is about to go very poorly. All right, so now comes the part of the video that I'm going to coin. We're gonna spend way more time on this than we actually should. You know, one thing I realized, we bought this actually without the charger, and we saved like, what, 10 or 15 bucks when we purchased it. But we actually have not tested this, and I don't have a 3DS or 2DS charger here. So there's a real possibility that we're gonna take this apart, paint it, and then turn it back on, and it doesn't do anything. And it doesn't do anything. So, whoa, I got the buttons out. How many buttons do you really need on a 2DS anyway? Well, if you've ever wondered, this is the inside of the 2DS. So this is the screen, or the screens. This is the one that actually has the touch sensitive layer, and this one does not. But when you open it up, it just has one big screen with a bunch of masking on it.
So Austin went through the liberty of doing masks on the inside, and he also did masks on the screen, to be fair, but I came up with this idea of, I don't know if you guys have ever used Sharpie on a whiteboard, but in order to get the Sharpie off the whiteboard, what you could actually do is just take a dry erase marker and draw over the Sharpie and then erase it, and usually the Sharpie comes off. We have a spot in the corner. We also have some bits here on the shiny bezels.
So what happened before was that not only did the kid who had this before use Sharpie on the plastic, but they Sharpied over the actual screen as well.
Yeah, let's see if that does it. Oh, look at that.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It did the thing. Don't think it works on the matte surface, but that's totally fine because we're going to spray paint over it anyway.
So with our 2DS expertly masked off, you may have one big question, and that is, Austin, aren't you an expert painter? And I would therefore submit to you the evidence of the last time I spray painted.
Even coats, man.
So you can clearly see that I am a certified painting pro who is absolutely qualified to do this and is not gonna get paint and primer all over my pants or my very cool shirt. Yes, the wind is going in this direction. So I'll do some long range. No, I'm just kidding.
This is already significantly better than the last time you did it.
Thanks, man. So we're gonna just say that's good. We're gonna let that sit there for a minute. I'll do one more coat and then we'll let it dry. That's not that bad though, right?
Mm-mm.
All right, it has been actually over 2 hours since we started. Let's take a look and see how it came out. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, it feels nice and smooth. There's a little bit of a rough edge there, but it's not so bad. So now I think the goal is to hit it with a little bit of that red paint. Thank you very much. Apparently it dries in 10 minutes or less. So let's hit it with a couple of coats of this and see how it comes out. I'm an expert now. Famous last words. Ooh, I don't like that at all. It's like blowing in the wind. All right, set your watches. 10 minutes from now, we'll see how that comes out, but I like that color.
So, how's it going?
So there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is that I think my paint job looks pretty good. Don't mind the slight sinking in of the plastic. I think I actually may have been a little bit aggressive with the paint on the plastic, but it's fine.
From afar, it's okay.
From afar, it looks okay. It looks better than it did. My unfortunate part is that it doesn't actually power on. Now, I can get the light to show up when I plug it in. The problem though is if you look on the back, this battery is massively swollen. So I actually never tested if this would work. And I regret that now because I'm pretty sure my battery is the problem. I'm gonna steal a battery from another 2DS that was so graciously provided by Matt over here. Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate your support. And I'm gonna put this in and see if that'll actually get me to boot my 2DS. Because if not, it broken and I'm gonna be sad.
Also, what are the odds that you broke something when you took it apart the first time?
I don't think I actually broke anything. Everything went back together. I've got all my ribbons reconnected. I guess there's nothing for it. Let's just plug it in and see what happens. The blue light's on. The blue light wasn't on before. Oh, it's off. Okay. I'll admit, this one's my bad. I should have tested the 2DS before we took it apart and I painted it for hours so that when I inevitably run into problems with it not working, I can know whether it's my fault that I somehow put something together incorrectly, highly doubtful because I clearly know what I'm doing, or it's the fact that I bought a broken 2DS from a pawn shop. And that really sums up this video, doesn't it? I think it's possible that we spent twice as much buying stuff from pawn shops as we could have if we actually would have gotten it from reputable retailers such as Amazon. We're experts at getting ripped off. And I'm experts at spending way too much time on my poor 2DS that doesn't work. I'm so sad. You had so much life to give.